Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. All right, so let me transfer this over and I'll switch my screen to the actual interview screen. All right. All right, and we're already live, but let me change this. Cool. Interview. Great. Here we go. We are good. Awesome. So first off, thank you for joining me today, Edward. I know it's you're right. I saw your tweet. It's a little bit of bad timing. I think both teams that we're watching are playing right now. But yeah, we can maybe split screen something. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Good to be with you, Dr. Jordan. Yeah, we can't really help the fact that they play all the time, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have to schedule things in
Coming
advance.
into this
So
split,
Yep.
happy to be here with you.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into it. So first off, why don't you kind of give us your background and maybe elaborate for the viewers, like who you are, what you do, and some of the stuff that you've been working on.
Sure. Well, who I am is Edward Cleland, and I go by MindBody Esports on Twitter, which is maybe the only way people have any interaction with me right now. I am the performance specialist for several different teams in professional esports for different orgs, and have been working as a mind body medicine practitioner or a health optimizationalist, if you will, in pro esports now for over 4 years. And so that means working with teams and individuals alike to help them improve their health in and out of the game and get closer to their goals.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think what really interested me in talking with you, Edward, was that you have such a diverse background and also a diverse approach towards improvement. So I know you obviously work a lot in the physical side as well with nutrition and exercise and all that, but also the mental side. So what are your thoughts on how you approach improving a team or an organization or even a player?
So it's complex. Health is complex, and what we do is we help the individual away from the game. We help the individual as a part of a team. We help the team together, and we help the team kind of externally. So for me, and I don't want to just throw it out there for the whole masses, it'll be in the book someday. But it's really like a 4 quadrant model
Hmm.
where we're doing something intrinsically about the individual, extrinsically about the individual, internally about the team, and externally about the team.
Okay.
And we do this in a holistic way. So my background was in holistic health education. That's where I started, and as a functional nutritionist. So I would work with elite athletes and traditional sports and Olympic runners and other ultra marathoners and elite runners. But we would work on nutrition, and then from nutrition we would start working on performance. And then I continued my education and went back for mind body medicine, and I'm completing a PhD in mind body medicine right now. So in that way, we're looking at each one of those quadrants within the nutrition category, within the fitness category, within the mental health category, within the lifestyle and rituals categories. So certainly surrounding them, and you and I have worked together a little bit already. We share some athletes.
Yep.
So we've talked about this, of course, but surrounding them holistically means putting the client or the esports athlete in the center of the model, and then finding out what things they need to best improve, and improve is very complex.
Yeah, I'm sure. And any part of designing a well-rounded program for the individual is doing obviously a well-rounded assessment too. So what are some things that you look for when you first meet with an individual, and how does that dictate how you start approaching their plan?
So it's a really good question. I have here in our clinic, so I have a wellness clinic here in Michigan that I'm the clinical director of. And we kind of joke that our intake page is a novel. It's like 12 pages worth of stuff.
Hmm.
And I've never given it to any one of my gamers and said, hey, fill out this booklet on yourself. Um, because in a traditional model, we're looking at biometrics,
Hmm.
height, weight, all the different numbers that you're going to look at, blood assessments. We take 20 different blood panels here. Even last night, I was, I don't think, I don't think you would mind. I work with Closer. I work with John closely.
Hmm.
And last night we were reviewing some blood results that help us improve his diet to improve his focus and just keep making them sharper and stronger. So kudos to him for working on those type of things. But so we might look at blood chemistry, we might look at mental health. What I'm not here to unpackage trauma from ages 0 to 18 and help them deep dive those relationships. And that's also, I'm sure any ownership that would ever hear me speak would probably appreciate that we're here to optimize them. And that means supporting them wholly and really helping them in a holistic sense. That the term holism really means meeting someone where they are. Right. So that's what holistic means. If you meet someone who is holistic, they shouldn't be walking into a conversation saying, here's the thing you have to do. Right. That they should be willing to say, where are you right now? What are the things that are preventing you from moving forward, and then addressing those? So my full assessment might be a 90-minute conversation with an athlete. It's now public that we announced we have a new player on our Valent roster today. Dicey's no longer with us, and we're bringing in Ethan. And so this first session with Ethan will very much so be us sitting and talking and learning about each other and what makes him work and operate. And it's complex, and it will have to do with food and mental health and how he deals with others and his history and experiences as a champion, as a former champion. And, everything that makes him motivated to get up and move. And we're really working, and I credit the orgs I work with. We're working on developing people. We're helping develop great men. And I don't say that gender bias. That's just who we're working with.
You have to caveat that nowadays, but yes, absolutely. All the players.
So there's professional female gamers. So it's
absolutely.
It's a fair distinction.
Yeah. So that's really interesting that the combination of physiologic information and data, right, with the blood testing and all that, and how that correlates to performance. Like, in my experience, I'm not very familiar with how those would go together. What do you think are some correlates between like your blood tests, your values, your nutritional values, and then also the actual performance side of it, mental performance and physical performance?
So let's dive in on two parts there. First off, the psychophys component that you brought in, because that's a really important part. Psychophysiology, for those that are listening or watching, and I don't have your chat or anything up, so I don't know what's, maybe it's just you and I having a chat with whoever's out there. But to give you an idea of what psychophys is, psychophysiology, so psycho, the mind, physiology, the body. And what we're talking about is this wiring connection and this chemical exchange of information back and forth. And science now has proven that we're sending as strong or stronger signals from the gut back to the brain as we are from the brain to the body. Okay, so when you hear someone saying digestive health is the second brain, or treat the gut to treat the brain, that's very much so accepted science now. This has now been proven, the double blinds and everything. We've gone through the rigmarole, and now we're the beneficiaries of this understanding of this. So in that way, if I were to say, well, gamers are either experiencing fight or flight responses or rest and digest responses, well, guess what? When we hook up Steele to a heart rate monitor and we see his heart rate increase when he's playing or when a clutch is coming, that's because psychophysiology exists. If the brain is experiencing something, the body has to take it on. And if the body experiences something, there's thoughts that occur afterwards and perception that occurs. So, it makes sense to us. But what we get wrapped up in, and I'm really thankful of the men that I get to work with, because they're willing to accept this. I never hear, oh, Edward, that's too fluffy or something, right? Like even the Call of Duty guys or the CS boys, they all understand that this is acceptable. So the second part of your question is this idea that nutrition is going to affect performance. Well, what happens if we have the body and ability where it can, in a position where it can focus more, or it can operate without being in such a strong fight and flight response mechanism? I mean, it's a reason why snipers get taught this. It's a reason NBA players at the free throw line are being, they're doing these mindfulness practices we're talking about. Hockey players before they take their shootout. If you're perceiving something, the body's there and experiencing it. So in this way, let's break this down in a way that's really appropriate for your profession in PT. Acidity in the body affects function.
Sure.
It affects functionality. So if you have fluidity in joints and fluidity in messaging processes, where you're having open lines of communication between the brain and these fingers, and the body's able to operate in that way, you'll be able to respond faster. And we don't have all of those studies out yet in esports. That's why my dissertation is going to be in this field a little bit, you know, and I'm lucky that I've got some of these guys that I can study. But, you know, we have proven that all of these things make a difference. You reduce somebody's inflammation, their acidity structure, they're going to play better because they're not going to be as frustrated. They won't be as tilted. Same thing with sleep. Someone gets some sleep. You know, you clean your room. You do these things that actually reduce the ambiguity of your life. Well, your gaming will improve. That's just, we see that across the board.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that because right now I think there's starting to be a shift in the esports industry where health and wellness and preparation is starting to become more important in a lot of the organizations' minds. I think they're seeing the benefit from people like you working with organizations and improving team culture and all that. But it is interesting that because it's so new and they're at the forefront of it, a lot of teams are still kind of struggling through, how much do we need to incorporate? You know,
Sure.
Okay, we brought in a chef. Great. Do we need to do more? We brought in,
well, we have that with our league program, right? We have a chef. Do we need a registered dietitian as well, or do we need a Swiss Army knife like myself that has that background and the other? You know what I mean? So it does make a difference. When I say we in that context, I mean 100 Thieves.
Yes.
You know, but you know, there's orgs who are, you know, I'm being utilized by complexity in a mental health capacity, right? There's orgs that are, you know, figuring out what their needs are and finding ways to surround their athletes with matching that. Now, let's also acknowledge that these things are tough to quantify, right? My thesis work in grad school was about corporations and specifically organizations trying to validate the health and wellness of their staff. You know, and when I went to the CFO at 100 Thieves last year and I said, hey, you know, I've got a couple of employees here on staff who aren't esports related, who are reaching out to me and saying, hey, you know, Edward, I like what you're doing with the players, and can I ask you a question about meditation? Or could I talk to you about my sleep or something? You know, and I talk to the CFO and I say, hey, you know, I really think we could do some corporate wellness here that would be beneficial. You know, rightfully so, him and the CEO, and they're going to say, well, how do we make sure that this is worth the money and the time and the resources? And we're seeing people like them, specifically Jason and John and others, say, you know what, we know that it's beneficial, and it is tough to quantify.
Sure.
You know, I'm tough to quantify. If you ask the players, you know, is working with Edward worth it? They'll speak for themselves. But then still, how do you quantify that?
Right. I think that's the biggest struggle. Even for me in physical therapy, it's like, you know, I have to basically tell teams, look, what my job is to either help your players get through injuries, but primarily it's to help you prevent injuries. And if I do my job well, you'll never ever hear from them about me.
And how do you quantify that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've had people sit in this office with me that have subsequently died of cancer in the following weeks.
Oh wow!
Right. And how do I quantify those practices or discussions? Right. Versus a client that comes in and says, you know what, my mother died of cancer, and I don't want to die of cancer. What would you recommend my lifestyle and my diet and my rituals look like? That's a different conversation. You know, so you're right, mitigating a pain and an injury, and you've come in for one of our players recently and helped him understand better how to, you know, take care of his body in these ways. And, you know, how do we quantify that if it's not from injury saving, right? If you're not saying, well, he wasn't on the bench. So it is tough. It is tough. But to your point previously, the organizations are, as far as I can tell, the industry is growing quickly. We're seeing a lot of other people, such as myself, you know, and yourself, that are in the industry or trying to get into it. My Twitter feed's full. My DMs are chock full. I feel bad for people. You know what it's full of? It's full of three different types. I have other pro gamers who are hitting me up in the DMs and saying, Edward, I have a question for you. And I'm looking at it like, wow, there's industry people. I wasn't even thinking of that one. Announcers and others that are saying, hey, you know, we're seeing that this is helping these people, and I have questions. So we're kind of seeing that undercurrent shift. But I'm also getting it a lot from the youth. I'm getting it a lot from people that are young saying, Edward, I follow 100 Thieves. I've been watching you. I saw you on Heist. And I want to know, as a young 15-year-old that is experiencing tilt and gets mad and can't focus in school, like, what do I need to do? Right? How do I become a pro gamer? I also say I have locals here in the community now that are calling me up and saying, hey, I have a young teenager that I think could be a pro gamer. 12 years ago, when I was in private practice here, I wasn't getting those phone calls about gaming. It was only about pro sports. That didn't exist. If you ask any pro gamer today, were your parents sending you to gaming camp? Did they have you working with a physical therapist and a mental
Yeah.
health coach? I mean, this industry is growing and rapidly. We're seeing the need for it.
Well, I think you've already seen that shift in traditional sports, right? So parents are willing to invest in their kids if they're playing football, baseball, soccer. Let's say that they show the promise of actually becoming, a top level player in any of those sports. Parents are more willing to, okay, I need to get a coach. I need to get a pitching coach for this kid.
Yeah.
And if I think if you have a 14-year-old, child who is top 100 in Fortnite or is absolutely destroying people in Valorant, it's probably almost the same type of investment that you could bring in a coach. You could bring in maybe some pro players. There's all sorts of resources now that aren't necessarily bad ideas to get into because it is becoming more and more of a realistic path. So,
Without a doubt.
yeah.
And I would take it a step further and say the likelihood that kid could be a pro gamer or at least land somewhere in there is probably better than the likelihood that I was going to play pro baseball.
Yeah.
When I was going to all these baseball camps, I went to baseball, basketball camp, I went to football camps. I'm 5'10", 150 pounds. I mean, and part of that's a fluency, right?
Yeah.
Privilege and
Mhm.
community and where I grew up and the family I was raised in here in the States. But at the same time, you can't dismiss the fact that it just didn't exist. My pinned tweet is still about kind of my journey in the first 2 years of working with the Renegades,
Right.
and how so much of that was understanding about how their process to the pros. And this is no negative criticism of the Aussies for the most part that I was working with. They had to figure out how to do this kind of on their own.
Yeah.
They didn't have a coach at some point that was standing there. And I'm not talking about Casad. I'm saying like when they were kids,
Mhm.
they didn't have a coach that was standing there saying, "Hey, this is the way that we have to structure our day."
Yeah.
Hey, don't troll each other, right? Like, I mean, you play the games,
Mhm.
you're online, you get to see how people are talking to each other.
Yeah.
The way that we're communicating together certainly wouldn't align with positive psychology's belief of communication strategies, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's actually something I've stressed a lot in other talks too with people is that there's a large jump from going from a high level amateur or casual player to going pro because you're not used to a team environment, and that's something that you don't see in traditional sports. Where if a kid ends up going pro in baseball, he's or she has already played so many years of competitive baseball on teams with organizations, all that stuff. And in most games, you don't see that. Like, Valorant League, they have all these structured tournament settings and they have structured organizations. But prior to that, it's basically you're alone on the online ladder trying to beat other people with random teams you've never met. And so I think, we have to have some sort of, yeah.
It's spot on. Yeah, it's spot on. And to the credit of some of these youthful players like an Asana and a Dicey,
Mm-hmm.
who we have a banner with their names on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys have a trophy. And when they joined, I mean, when we would ask, Kwang Dicey, hey, what worked for you in the past in the team setting? He's like, what, you mean in other sports? When I was like, he's in high school,
Yeah.
so like, that's going to be very different than say even Hiko, who's been
Mm-hmm.
on so many pro teams, or certainly Nick and Josh as well,
Yeah.
who have been on so many different pro teams that at this point they go, well, this worked from Liquid and this worked from this, and now they even tell me, well, Edward, my previous sports psychologist, he would help me with this, right? I've got a couple of books that my players have said, hey, my previous sports psychologist said, read this book, it was good for me, and I read one of their books just to have a chat with Nitro about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're in such an evolving field, and I think we have to make sure that we understand there's room for everybody. When I talk to these young men, and they say, hey, this is how I'm trying to work on this, or if I don't get called cringe at least one time for a team event, and like I'll even let them know, like Tenacity on our academy squad, like, hey, it's not going to be comfortable, man, because you didn't have to do this. Like when I was playing high school sports and traveling the country playing youth baseball and tournament teams, and we had 4 coaches with us at all times, we had a lot of structure, and they were still trying to figure it out, and they were amateurs, but there was an adult in the room trying to do stuff with us.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly not a nutritionist, or a mental health coach. This is new territory for them.
Yeah, I think we've seen the benefit, and the teams that you've worked with are obviously performing at a very high level across the board. I think it's really showing that teams who invest in those kinds of resources tend to find the improvement. So when you look at a team then and you start trying to build the culture, I understand that you said you did intrinsic, extrinsic for person, intrinsic, extrinsic for the organization. What usually comes first? Does it have to be an individual has to get to a certain point in order to integrate, or is it simultaneous and you're kind of assessing from there?
It's an interesting thing because let me give you an analogy that I use with all. Um, and I was actually, the first time I got exposed on media was on TBS. They had did the Road to the Major in Atlanta, and I was with the Renegades. And I remember saying this to them, and it was novel to me at that point, and I've used it a lot over the last 4 years with the other guys. You don't have to get anywhere else. You don't have to accomplish anything else in order to experience success today, right? And it's kind of like, let's say we were young bachelors. I'm happily married, so full disclosure on that one. But if I were a young bachelor and you said, well, hey Edward, that's a really attractive girl, you want to go talk to her? And I said, oh yeah, but I'm not dressed well enough, or I'd like to be more fit, or well, I'll talk to her when I feel more like this, or I'm not tan enough, or wow, man, I'm so bald. How do I just, it's like, well, when are you going to accept this? Is everything going to be conditional? Do we have to go experience what it's like to lose on the stage before we're able to win on the stage? So once we kind of give this up a little bit and we say, you know what, I'm willing to give up the fact that I'm not going to ever be perfectly prepared boy, would I love if Kassad saw this line, because he would love that. Him and I talked a lot about that over the years, that we're never going to have expectations go as planned, positive or negative. And once we say, hey, this isn't going to go as we plan, and we're okay with that, kind of as the Zen would say, jump and then the net will appear. Once we become more okay with that and we're able to actually let go of that control mechanism, then we find out we don't need to be anywhere else in order to succeed today. So in that way, you can say, well, we are not prepared fully. Yeah, okay. That's okay to acknowledge, but you're still allowed to go and experience the game in a certain way and experience the relationships and the communication and your energy a certain way. So to answer your question directly, is there a specific way that we focus? No, we focus on everything. I'm focusing on their routines and their sleep, how they're talking to each other, how they feel about one another in and out of the game, their trust, all of it all the time. It isn't something where, they've got to lose 5 pounds before they can be a better teammate, right? So we really are looking at every one of those areas at all times. And I kind of task certain people around me, and if they were listening, they would understand where they're at in this, to kind of uphold some of the missions, right? I'm not in there with my whole staff. To this point, right? Like we say, some companies will bring you in a certain way. Like 100 Thieves has me for 40 hours a week. I mean, that's a big commitment. But I said, hey, how about I bring in another 2 or 3 staffers? That's probably enough. You're enough, right? Yeah. So we find a way to make the model work with the resources we have, right? But we have to focus on all of it. You have to look at everything.
And do you find it difficult to get buy-in with the players you work with initially, or is it kind of like, well, they've been brought into this roster because the management or the team owners think they already have the buy-in that they're willing to put in for this process?
I'll say that so much of that depends on, in some ways, the practitioner. If I said I was going to lead a meditation today and everyone sit down and close your eyes, I have to be able and willing to acknowledge what it's going to be for them, right? So I think it requires a certain practitioner. It's not, you can't just have anybody, and that's where you might say, well, Edward sounds like he's flexed a little ego here. I've been working at this for a long time. I've been putting in my hours, right, to figure out how to help. So I think that's important. I am really surprised and grateful, and you see the return. These guys, I have not found anyone that is not willing to buy in at all. And some of them will buy into different levels. Jacob Yud is a great example. Even in his twit longer, he said something to the effect of, Edward, you and I might have always agreed eye to eye, which is kind of funny to me, because basically what he's saying is, I might have wanted him, or we might have talked about him working out or not drinking as much Pepsi or something, right? Like it's not like he said, no, I think Edward's full of shit, right? Like it was just kind of like, no, we didn't really do everything, but even he'd show up on time, and he would acknowledge how much of mental health esports is 99% mental.
Yeah,
right? Like
I would agree.
You can't tell me it's not.
No,
When you feel good and you're happy with your teammates, these guys have the technical ability. It's not like they lose it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if they're feeling it, they're in it. So and Yud would say that too. Everyone I've ever worked with, but I would say early, I'm thankful that the Aussies had the right demeanor and they were willing to say, hey, there's some things here we want to improve. We're willing to talk about it, even if it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's a real kudos, you know, to Aaron and Justin, especially, and Noah, who was there when we first started. You know, but yeah, they had to have some buy-in. But I think at this point, these orgs are so professional. I mean, 100 Thieves in complexity and even, you know, to a smaller level, right? Renegades has done a lot to try to pro up their org. But, you know, the resources are top notch. I mean, they're running top notch facilities. I mean, complexity is owned by the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Right.
They're running like a pro org. And I think that's where we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers, the business analysts all say this is heading towards like NFL type level, you know? How we doing? You keep an eye. I see you looking over there. What are you watching?
Oh, no, I just had it on the side, but no, I was wanting to talk about that too. So I think I totally agree with you that the destination of esports is going in that way, but I'm kind of curious as to how you feel about traditional sports having such a huge influence on this market in this, you know, these organizations, because, you know, we've seen both, right?
We have to acknowledge the nuance between these games. Mm-hmm. We can't blanket statement esports.
Right.
It is too nuanced. And from my end, in the mental health aspect, and I understand I have other, you know, Swiss Army knife type rules as well, and movement and nutrition. But in the mental health arena, these games are different. And maybe some of the approaches and mindfulness can be applied to one team to the other, but the demeanor and the attitude and the way they carry themselves and their schedules, and they're different. They're from different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't treat someone that is from South Korea the same as someone that's from New York. That isn't holistic. You know, so I mean, it's very complex. When you look at other sports, and I've worked with some pro traditional teams, you know, and even then, you know, if my players were from Venezuela or something, it was different too, right? But, we have to be very holistically minded with this. I don't think the crossover. Papa Smithy brings this up to me a lot. We have had some great talks about what's the difference between, you know, professional athletics. You know, he's a new GM in esports, right? Mm-hmm. For instance, is a second go around and is a general manager in esports. And he said, you know, what do you see in general management in traditional sports? I said, oh, Chris, it's so much different than in esports, right? Even more different than the players. These are really unique, and I don't think any org has the same system as another org. Yeah. You know, in my experience, they're all different. Yeah. They all have different leadership styles and kind of attitudes about it and concerns. I mean, I love how I embody that we're a hoodie org. I love that idea. You know, and it's just content creators. I see these really talented young individuals like JHB team walking through the compound and, you know, grabbing them and talking to them about mindfulness and life and all these things. And we're a complex organization, and some other orgs are simply driven for esports only, right? So it's you have to acknowledge what you are and be really mindful of that. So many things go into this. It's just.
I think that's
I don't remember where we started, but the complexity is uncanny. Yeah.
That's the exciting thing, though, is that you can go so many different directions, but there's still so many viable ways to make this work, right? You don't have to be an NFL style pro team to succeed in esports. I mean, we see like Cloud9 is you know, their motto is we are an esports org first. That's all they are. Yeah. You know, like we focus on esports. That's what we do. So it's really interesting to see the differences between that and, you know, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, some of these other teams I've worked with.
And I'll say, let me throw this out there real quick. 100 Thieves is an esports org.
Yes.
Okay. It's a large company with different it's not like Nate Shot's in the room every day yelling at us what to do for esports. I mean, you know, Jacob runs the show over there, right? So I mean, you have people that are managing departments. Yeah. You know, and that's how organizations run. You know, I mean, it's not like the same person for Nike's running the shoes as they are the hoodies and other things. I mean, and the athletes, it's all different. Yeah. You know, but yeah, to compare it to traditional sports is tricky. Yet there are certainly overlaps, and I would be surprised if we didn't see the top 10 orgs in esports, and let's just say 10 orgs in terms of total revenue, just
Sure.
to keep it simple, keep it in business terms. I'd be surprised if we didn't see them have someone like you and me and a chef or dietitian. And let me throw this out there. It doesn't have to be a dietitian. I hire functional nutritionists. Some are dietitians, some aren't. I'm not a dietitian, and I hire dietitians. So, certification's interesting. But you have to find the right people. And I think you have to have someone taking care of their body health, their physical health, right? Whether it's a PT or a different type of PT, and maybe even a personal trainer, not to say that your comparison to them, as a doctor of physical therapy, of course, right. But someone working on their body, someone working on their mind, someone helping them with their food. Food is medicine. You change what someone's eating, it will change the way they play.
100%.
And these gamers, I've worked with an Olympian that's a 10K Olympian on the U.S. Olympic team. And he said, your goal is to help me reduce my mile by about a second a mile. And he said, I feel like I'm operating around a 97.6%, right? Something close to that. And, he said, and I worked with him for a couple months, Jason Witt, just to make sure I'm throwing it out there in case people call bullshit on me. And I worked with him for a couple months. We knocked him down a couple seconds, and he came back. He said, no, I feel like I'm operating at like a 99. I feel amazing. I can't believe, this is years ago. I think we got him off dairy or gluten or something. It wasn't even earth-shattering changes, or it didn't take a PhD to figure out. Right? It was relatively easy stuff. And he said, I can't believe food made this difference. He was an All-American at BYU for 4 years with a dietitian. Right. Wow. So he was already refined. When we're talking about a gamer, and not to berate the sponsors that we have, right? But we're talking about people that are eating high fructose corn syrup. Oftentimes, not all of them. So a lot of gamers are very healthy now. Spencer and a lot of the guys I work with have a really healthy diet. League of Legends program, we have a really healthy diet right now. But needless to say, maybe traditionally these gamers weren't the healthiest eaters, right? Diet makes a huge difference. That's where I walked into this, was first from a dietary component.
Yeah, I think so. I want to talk a little bit about that because that's something I don't know really at all beyond a rudimentary, like, okay, eat your, complex carbs and eat meat and all that stuff. So, but how do you feel about a gamer specific diet? Is that different than a general diet? Is that different than a high performance athlete diet?
So let me first off say that I have completed my PhD work in nutrition, and diet is personalized. So that's not personalized by your profession, it's personalized by your chemistry. And so if everybody ate what Tom Brady's eating, would they reduce their inflammation and increase their longevity in athletics? Yeah, probably, in contrast to what they're currently eating, if they're eating a highly acidic diet. I believe that there's certain pillars within nutrition that you have to pay attention to. And for the record, the door has said functional nutritionist for the last 15 years. I just haven't changed that, right? So that's where I'm kind of stemming from. All of my work came out of that. We're talking about acidity on the cellular level. If you reduce the acidity on the cellular level, everything in brain chemistry will change. You will feel like a different human if you change your acidic levels. So it's not as simple as macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs. I mean, the ketogenic diet works for some people. That's 90% fat. A paleo diet works for some people. That's at least 40% protein, and that's really rooting your whole diet in protein. A vegan diet works for some people, and that's going to be mostly carbohydrates. I've studied Ayurvedic medicine. That's traditional Indian medicine. They believe in 3 different constitutions. You have Pitta Kapha Vata, and these 3 doshas represent what you should be eating, and they'll tell you a lot about your diet. So someone that will be working with me might come in and say, well, I want to lose weight, so I've been eating a low-carb diet. And then we look at them through a traditional Indian model, and we find out that actually you need at least 50% of your calories from carbohydrates. And they go, well, that doesn't meet the Atkins standard here and the standard American diet and all the American perceptions. So first and foremost, it's not that simple. And I won't mention which ones, but I've read some of the literature that's been published in esports nutrition so far, and I've been very dissatisfied.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have not found it to be, I found it to be very elementary, very undergrad 101 in some ways in terms of how they're addressing this. Because if you're trying to increase someone's ability to neurologically function optimally, okay, and if you're trying to improve their cellular health, you also can't just do it by providing them a chef meal every day. I mean, one of the players that I'm working with right now, we find out that most of the foods that he really likes eating that are healthy, high fat, high protein foods he's sensitive to.
Okay.
So he's got pain. And so we call in someone like you or yourself, perhaps, wink, wink, to work with him. And we say, help him with his pain. Well, his pain's from what? His cellular problems. And so we can change health on the cellular level with food and what they're eating molecularly.
Okay.
So usually what I start with, Dr. Jordan, is I'll build a pyramid. And I'll say, let's start with hydration. Let's go into macronutrients. Let's go into metabolism. Most people undereat. We need to eat more. And then we'll start looking at vitamins and minerals. And that's what I teach. I mean, I've taught grad classes on this stuff. So it's like you build a program based off of their metabolic structure and what they need. And most people that are new dietitians or something are kind of walking in like, hey, I think these type of foods are probably better for you, or these type of foods aren't. And, I'll show you off my wall here. I've published a health pyramid here and also a food pH scale.
Interesting. Okay.
We're looking at a lot of things. We're looking at metabolism. We're looking at acidic structures. We're looking at food sensitivities. We're looking at blood chemistry. We're looking at Ayurvedic medicine. We're looking at traditional Chinese medicine. So it's like the most complex thing on earth. When someone calls me up or someone messages, Edward, what should I eat? Oh my God.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah. I have clients, and this will sound insane. But I'll have a client come to me and say, hey, I'll pay you $500 or $1,000. You tell me what to eat.
Yeah, no. So one of my followers who posted in the chat he's doing his PhD, I believe, in food science or nutrition. He asked the question, so what causes acidity? So when you say that certain foods will promote acidity, is that based on the individual, or are there certain foods that you're just like, no, that is high acid, don't eat that?
Okay, that's a multi-layer question. Let me start off kind of by throwing us on the deep end. Let's say that somebody has a low acidic gut ratio. So, for instance, they might have Hashimoto's, celiac disease, leaky gut, SIBO, an ulcer, right? Let's say that they're walking in with some form of inflammation in their body. It would be likely that the foods that they would be easier to digest would be more acidic. So if you look at the pH scale, what we'd be looking at are foods that are more acidic, your dairies and your beefs and your proteins, mostly proteins and fats. If you look at a pH scale, for anybody that understands blood chemistry, let's get really nerdy for a second. A pH scale is usually going to rate from like 2 to 10, and your 10 is going to be highly alkalytic. Your 7 is your neutral. That's usually where your blood range is. Your urine and saliva will test in that range. And then when you look down in the acidic structures, you're looking more, in your 5s and 4s and 3s, liquor and pickles and vinegar and all the things that we know are acidic and cause acid. But your 8s, 9s, and 10s, all the alkalytic things are rainbow-colored fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
This is why you always hear people saying, I have cardiovascular disease, or I had all these problems, I had all this pain, I had arthritis, and then I went vegan and ate nothing but, the rainbow diet for 6 months and lost all my body fat and, had all these health benefits. It's because they reduced their acid. So the long and short of it is I've had a client come in here and say, Edward, when I eat a salad, I'm sick. Stabbing pains in my gut, but when I eat beef, I can digest it. Well, that person has something wrong with their stomach, something wrong with their intestinal lining. And so I'm no endocrinologist, but I'll send them in for work to find out, do some testing and find out what's really going on in this level. But if you take a normal, relatively healthy person and you say, how do we reduce the acid level in their body? Well, we increase the alkalinity foods. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at around a 20-to-1 ratio. So I used to joke with Yud, for every sip of cola that he took, he would have to eat 20 cucumbers. So it's an insane ratio, cellularly speaking. And that's why the idea of and it's low-calorie food. I mean, your vegetables are low-calorie food. So if you said every day you were eating an avocado, generally speaking, because this, again, you can't say universally. Somebody could be sensitive to these things. But if you could say, every day somebody should eat avocado and celery and a Granny Smith apple, and all organic, of course. If you did all these things, technically speaking, you would be reducing your acidic level. If people weren't eating as much red meat, if they weren't drinking liquor, if they weren't consuming as much caffeine, and that's not like a holistic stance. That's me saying those things are lower on the pH scale. So it's a balancing act. When I was sitting in grad classes, we would get in debates about this, and we walked away as a group. This is a highly functioning group of now who I consider industry leaders. They're the educators at Kaiser Permanente hospital system and dietetics. They work for Henry Ford hospitals. They work for the biggest hospitals in the country teaching nutrition. And when we got into kind of an intellectual debate on this, what we kind of concluded was there's enough acid in the life and in the human body as is. It's unlikely, unless you became a real stout vegetarian who was just eating fruits pretty much, it would be difficult to not have enough acid. You require both in the body for chemical exchanges. But anyway, hopefully that's interesting to the person who is getting a PhD.
Yeah, I mean, that gets really, you can go really deep into that stuff. So, and then do you find that, exercise and activity level changes that balance?
Absolutely. Good point. So everything affects everything. Mm-hmm. So if you have someone who breaks a sweat every day, the likelihood that they are, sorry, I'm getting messages from 100 Thieves. What's going on there? we should honor the fact they're in the middle of a match. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, it's
that's all right. I'm not going to comment on what's going on here. Not at the moment. They're late fighters. We're a resilient group of men.
You are. You've made what, 5 comebacks?
It's not something we want to do all season.
No.
6-0 on the kills here.
Yeah. You got them right where you want them.
Yeah. I do appreciate their resiliency. I do believe that we had a resilient group of men before I started working with them, so I'm not claiming full credit. I believe they're doing good work with me, and they're growing, and Tony is a good coach and leader for that as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we don't want to play from behind every day. That's not no. So where do you want to dive back into the nutrition?
Yeah. So I think that you were talking a little bit about the exercise and how that affects your changes in acidity.
Thank you. Sorry about the derailing there.
No problem.
So when we have when we're talking about chemistry within the body, we have to recognize that by putting the body through discomfort, we are improving it. I mean, there isn't anything in the world that doesn't work like this. Mm-hmm. Right? When you trial something and you put it through a challenge and it survives the challenge, it becomes more optimized, more optimal. And I can prove that by doing biofeedback. I'm an ultra marathoner myself. Right before we met today, I ran a 10K on ice with my training partner out in the snow. And when I take my heart rate, it is improved in my late 30s versus my early 30s. Well, how does that happen? Right? Does that happen by getting older? Well, no, it has nothing to do with aging, right? So my beard's whiter than it was 10 years ago, but my heart rate's lower. So, I mean, and what does that do to other parts of me? Well, that'll improve my cardiovascular wellness, which obviously ties into cholesterol, blood pressure, anxiety. Mm-hmm. All those things are the same thing, mm-hmm. right? So my ability to calm myself down, yes, it may be helpful that I practice meditation and I can, sit here and actually feel what the inside of my body feels like, and, sit here with my breath. That helps, that I have that ability and knowledge. But the physiological body, the fact that my heart actually can slow down and I can actually pump less and use my oxygen better and release more carbon dioxide, that improves all of my mental. So all of these things are the same thing. You can't tell me, well, I practice these things. Anyone that comes to me and says, well, I work out really, diet's like crap, but I work out hard and I have these health goals. No, I mean, you can't. There's no getting around this. We're beyond that. I'm thankful that I'm not like 60 years old. They were trying to prove to people that nutrition mattered, that sleep mattered, that movement mattered. I mean, we can pull. I've got stacks of studies all over the place.
Yeah.
We can pull it and prove it any way you need to know.
Right. Yeah, that's actually the easy part. You're right, because when I work with players now, it's very little buy-in has to be made about, okay, how will this help you? You know, they all know that pain is not good for when you're playing. Like, they all know that if I sit poorly, you know, I'll play. And actually, this is actually an interesting concept where I have players constantly come up to me and tell me, hey, I have really bad posture. How do I fix that? And I'll look at them and like, you don't have bad posture. You know, I don't know where you got in your head that you have to be this ramrod straight thing. You know, like, you know, the fact that I see you doing stretches in between your games, I see you doing all these other things, like, that's positive. You know, you should continue doing that. But so the basic health beliefs are there now, which is great. That's awesome for us because it allows us to skip that preliminary step of, okay, first of all, you need to take care of yourself. They all know that. But then how we go about it is kind of the interesting thing. So,
and that varies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of these guys, I'm working with are taking at least 2 supplements that I've talked to them about.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but mm-hmm. I'd say 90% of them are on at least 2 supplements. You know, most of them have a fitness routine of some kind. You know, most of them have some form of mental health, meditation, mindfulness windows that they're instilling throughout the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm thankful the buy-in's there. We're thankful that we're here in this era. I mean, esports didn't exist 10 years ago, so it's not like esports is finally catching up. I mean, we're going to be the leading. We're going to be the leaders. I actually think it's going to inverse. I actually think esports is going to end up teaching traditional sport.
Sure.
We have to get out of this idea that we're just going to pull it from there. We're going to create it. That's what we're doing. I mean, in that way, you and I are both pioneers in that way in this industry. We're the beginners of this craft.
That's what's most exciting for me is it does feel like we're at the forefront of a brand new whole landscape of what we could potentially create here. And I totally agree. I think esports can't aspire to become traditional sports. I think esports as a whole, like every game, has to kind of drive into what makes that game great and what makes people want to watch that game, because it's all different. You know, the CSGO fans are very, very different than your League of Legends fans. And I don't think League of Legends should lose what makes that game that game. You know, like the whole fantasy and people cosplaying at events, all that stuff that maybe a mainstream audience might kind of cringe at. You know, that's what makes that game great, though. You know, I think that they have to double down on that stuff and continue making it unique.
It allows them to become better players. Mm-hmm. You know, Someday said something that I keep bringing up in front of him and the rest of the teams that he's on, of course, that everything we do makes us a better League of Legends player. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I've worked with pro athletes in, you know, the guy that was struggling one of the guys I worked with in the NBA who was struggling mightily on a rookie deal, shooting percentage was falling through the ground because of performance anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get him to buy into that. And it was almost like his upbringing was too, he was from a very rough neighborhood. He grew up in the States, like, you know, playing ball in a tough area, you know, and that's what he talked about. Like, grew up playing, you know, street ball, you know, and that's kind of like was his stomping grounds, his learning, you know. And then he played for 1 year in college and had kind of a culture shock there, and then boom, he's in the NBA.
Yeah,
you know, and so like he had a less of an ability to understand that everything that he does, you know, at night and on the weekends makes him able to shoot the free throws. You know, where Someday can say, no, what I do on a Friday night, you know, matters. Like, and you know, he plays Saturday and Sunday, so maybe that's not a good example. But you know, what I do on a Monday night, and you know, I'm seeing what's going on here.
Yeah.
But what I do on a Monday night, you know, what he does tomorrow after a day like today, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, and
when do you think that's shifted in your opinion? Because I've definitely seen in the last few years, there's been a definite culture shift across a lot of teams and across the landscape as a whole. So my main team is Cloud9. I see them the most. I've seen them for the longest. I definitely saw a shift in when Sneaky was let go and they basically dropped the entire previous old roster and shifted into the team they have now. It was as much a culture change as it was actual changing of players, and I saw that happen basically within one season. And so do you?
I think it's unacceptable. It's almost like not cool anymore, right? Like being healthy is cool.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to a guy that's half my age, I'm 39. I'm turning 40 this year. You know, when I talk to a player half my age, he's not like he thinks the shorts that I wear might be a little cringe, but he doesn't think it's cheesy that I can run a marathon any day of the week.
Right.
He doesn't think that's lame. He doesn't think it's lame that I'm a dad with abs.
Yeah.
right? He doesn't think that's like that's not like no one's gonna tell me like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
like I don't know, health has gotten there. I mean, Nate Shots promoting health in his own way. Courage promotes health in his own way.
Yeah.
You know, all the kind of Ray promotes health. I mean, they take mental health breaks. They talk about meeting with their therapists. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool to be working on yourself. Like self-care isn't, you know, this isn't the 1980s and it's for like wealthy mothers. You know, it's like, you get to live one life.
You know, I love that though, because you're right. You're right. I think the dynamic of like, okay, let's look down on people who work hard is gone away a little bit, because I remember like when I was in middle school and growing up, it was like, oh, that kid studies super hard, that's why they got good grades, and it was kind of like you made fun of them for that, but
that still may be. I mean, I'm sure bullying still exists, right?
Yeah.
Like, and when I think about, I have some people that I grew up with who I know 4-pointed Harvard all the way through their doctorates.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting next to them in middle school and high school and thinking, oh, dork or loser or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and now when I look at them online now pursuing my own PhD, not at Harvard, no offense to my university, you know, but you look around and you feel different about things. And certainly, you know, when I talk with Rush, I mean, he made this point just the other day. He said, Edward, I'm thankful that I'm working with you now. And I said, what do you mean? You know, you're accomplished. You've done so much. He said, well, I wasn't ready for you 3 years ago. Right. And that's true. And like, but again, that's to the industry shifted too, because even, you know, we'll hear Peter say in an interview, and I messaged him right away. I said, hey, so, you know, this was really nice to hear. He says something effective. I can tell how much it helps Steel and Nitro and Hiko when Edward's around and helping them and working with them. And that when they're focused on their health, they're better players and teammates. That's a 17-year-old that didn't grow up in traditional sports. You know, I mean, so yeah, I think the shift is there, but we're seeing it culturally as well. You know, I spent years in San Francisco, years in Los Angeles. Both those cities are, you know, hella progressive, if I'm allowed to use the term, as a boomer. You know, but you know, and then I've moved back to Michigan, and I live here in rural Michigan, and we're opening up an organic health bar here in Michigan. And I can't tell you how many phone calls we get every week saying, when the hell's this thing opening? You know, we're sick of eating the shitty food. We're sick of, you know, feeling like this. And I think what we're seeing now is, in the internet helped this, people my age, you know, all the people I went to high school with that were all these old people, right? We graduated way back in 2000. You know, all these people are now on Facebook talking about doing yoga and eating a certain way and trying to be in nature and unplugging. And it's not, I mean, it's not just trendy. It's like we figured out things. Like we know that the industrial foods aren't good for us, right? There's a reason that when my gamers go to Europe, they don't feel as sick, not eating the standard American diet. Like it's not cool to feel like shit. It's not cool to be, you know, trolled and tilted in game. Like, what's cool is winning trophies. What's cool is making $1 million playing video games. That shit's cool. Like,
Absolutely. So
like,
a discussion that's going on in my chat right now about the fitness and how it's become much more prevalent in society is that social media, right? We've seen positives and negatives from that medium. What do you think, you know, social media wise, how much of an effect has that had on these beliefs? And is it positive or is it negative, you know?
I'm a Taoist. It's both. Always, it's both.
Right? I'd agree.
Like saying, is the internet good? You know, yes, Elon Musk on Rogan had some good one-liners about that. You know, this idea that fitness is now a part of this. You ask anyone if they do 30 minutes of fitness before they start their workday, and if it's Rush and he's hitting the gym and he's got a really strict routine, or if it's Hiko hitting the bike or running Sammy, his dog, out in the snow, you ask from a phenomenological perspective, you ask them qualitatively how they feel, every one of them will tell you unequivocally that they feel better.
Sure.
And we all know this. We know that we feel better when we work. Now, does the body have to be at a very specific thing? I mean, if you saw the warm-ups that the league guys do, you know, I think some people would be surprised. I have elements of what's called Qigong, which is energy-based movement from China. That's a warm-up element. We have elements of personal training and physical therapy with stretching the shoulders. We use neuro balls, so we're throwing a ball, but we're not doing powerlifting and things. So I'm open and holistically minded to believe that the fitness that they need can be individualized and unique. And some of them can improve their gaming with things like cardio. But I do believe that cardio and strength training should both be there. But you have to meet the person where they are. It really depends on the person's goals and their body and how they're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's individualized.
But, it has to be. Yeah. Everything in health has to be. There are no cookie cutters. There just aren't.
Although, yeah, speaking of Rush, you got to tell him I said hi. But first time I saw him, I was like, man, this guy's got the biggest arms in esports.
He throws his arms
jacked.
up and flexes on us and meetings.
Yeah.
And Benya does it too. Lane's got big biceps too.
Yeah.
Even all those guys work out.
Yeah. When I first saw him, he's like, "Oh, I got some wrist issues. It's kind of hurting." I'm like, "Oh, is it from playing?" He's like, "No, I was overhead pressing like 200 pounds or something." I was like, "Okay, well."
Yeah, and he's a great example. Like, take the workout away from a guy like that.
Yeah,
and watch how he does in game as a guy that's an entry fragger. You want an entry fragger to keep their mindset on straight? Send him to the gym every day to throw around weights.
Yeah.
What a great thing for in a smart way. I'm not going to advocate for guys to go out there and box and break their wrists and shit.
Yeah.
You got to do it the right way.
Right. So another question I had, so going back to the culture and stuff, there's been a shift lately in the esports community about team houses. How do you feel about that? Because there's a lot of talk about separating work from home versus, we can build better relationships if we're all together. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, and this is not to speak to the orgs that I've worked with, because sometimes they have team living and sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the players choose to live together. If given the choice, even in apartments, they'll choose to live in the same apartment together.
Mm-hmm.
We have several groups like that right now. There's pros and cons to both of these. I think what's really important and something that I don't think gets talked about enough in health and wellness, mental health, but certainly in esports, are the idea of rituals and boundaries. And if a team is really focused on having really strong rituals and boundaries, then I think it can work both ways. But I guess my preference would not be to have team houses. And I don't believe in the future you will see team houses. Not to say that orgs that are doing that are doing something that can't work or not doing the right thing. But I do believe as this thing continues on, because I think what you're going to find is the lifestyle that these guys live, especially as the money increases. And look at some of the best teams. Look at Astralis' Counter-Strike team, right?
Yeah.
This past year, and them kind of saying, hey, we're experiencing too much burnout. We don't really, this isn't me talking to them. This is me just watching them through their own Twitter feed, right?
Right.
I've never had one discussion with any of them. I should make that, or the org. But to that point, you're seeing great teams that are saying, hey, we're burned out, or hey, our lifestyle isn't matching this. And we know it because these tournaments run back to back. The schedules are demanding. I mean, anyone that says, "Oh, I want to be a pro gamer so bad," or "These guys have it so easy," oh, bullshit. They
have no idea.
The life of a gamer.
They have no idea.
But they're making so much money. I mean, and that's subjective too. You're comparing that to other things. I mean, some of these guys have a more demanding schedule and work lifestyle than any pro athlete I've seen.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that it's like this is glamour. I mean, it's difficult. It's demanding as hell.
Yeah.
And we have to look at it like that. But no, I do think that as they continue to grow and once, and I don't know where the money goes. I don't know. But let's assume that it keeps going up. If these guys ended up making, let's say the year's 2030, and the minimum salary for anyone in League of Legends is $1 million, 500,000 or whatever. I just can't imagine that it's still them all living together in apartments or living all together in houses. I believe at some point it will, guys like Nitro, who has a baby and a wife and a house, like this will become a little bit more standard, I think, as we go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree. It does seem like that concept, though.
I mean, Jordan, if you're making this money and it's your profession, I mean, look at Valorant players, and we saw another one this week on our team, right?
Yeah.
Look at these guys trying to find ways to and Ethan's really young, so it doesn't really apply to him, but, but to make changes and extend their careers and find out lifestyle ways. And I haven't talked to him about this specifically yet, so I'm not trying to speak on his behalf, but certainly others have chosen Valorant because of lifestyle, right? It allows them to stay in the States. It allows them to be around their families. So we're already seeing that this is starting to shift more towards a more healthy, that's what it is. It's a more healthy environment where Steele would tell you 10 years ago, he was willing to live in a shoebox, and to play the game and try to win $600 a split 5 ways. And, it's like,
it does seem like the team house thing is a little bit of a holdover from back in the days when a professional team was basically a group of friends that had one sponsor, and it was just the easiest thing was to put them in a house.
Sure,
I think
there's benefits, but I don't. I mean, look at companies, look at orgs, and I know even at some of the orgs I work at, there's some employees that all live together, and there's maybe perceived benefit from that, and definitely true friendships that exist there, that don't necessarily have to be tied to whether or not they work at the same company. Yet, is that healthiest for their work-life balance? I mean, what mental health?
That's always the trade-off. You have no work-life balance.
It can't. So, and I think we're seeing even like Korean League, we're seeing move a little bit into a softer area in terms of some balance of life and work. That'll continue.
That's a whole other discussion about comparing Asia to NA, and their beliefs about work-life balance are so different than ours, obviously.
Very.
So a question in the chat, someone asked, what would you suggest for someone in college trying to get into the field of esports psychology? And I'm sure this is a question you get constantly.
Boy, first off, I mean, it is incredible how many have reached out to me recently with this. And I wished that I had a path that I could tell you, follow me, or I have considered starting a esports, and I've talked to you about being on the board of this, starting a healthcare practitioners association, and helping people understand the industry and what's needed, and have them kind of be members of, if they're interested in trying to be a part of the industry. I will create an analogy and kind of tell you what I tell like dietitians or others that want to get into traditional sports. I think you have to go out there and make your services available and help someone. And through helping people, I do believe, and I know that's a really terrible piece of advice because I tell people go make money. I don't like giving away services for free. I've told several people that have said, well, could I, come in there and meet with a player for something? And I would do it for free. I say, some of us are doctors, or at least have put in a graduate level or undergraduate work, and you can't help how old you are.
Right.
But I'd say reaching out, I've even as a pro who is not taking on more clientele right now, even if today an org called me, I just don't have the bandwidth, my personal self. I'm grateful to say that, but I don't have it myself. I don't know who I would send somebody to.
Right.
Like so there are opportunities there, my friend.
Yeah.
They exist, and please don't everybody just ping me for them. I can't just pick some.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, from the physical therapy side. Yeah, from the physical therapy side, I get that all the time too. I get constantly asked by student physical therapists, how do I get into this? And look, I didn't, I can't give you a name to call this person and like, hey, let's drop you. I don't even know you. And
I know.
The second,
it's so tough. Yeah, it's really tough. I would say there's opportunities galore. Are all of them willing to pay money? No, they're not. Yeah. And I being someone in Michigan, I asked Jacob at 100 Thieves, and I checked with the other orgs I work with. They said they didn't care. Being in Michigan, I've worked with just kind of doing chats with like the Michigan State University team and my alma mater, Western Michigan. I've reached out to them and a couple others. Just for kind of like fun chats, kind of like this. Like I'm not making any money on this. Yeah. Just trying to help the community and be out here a little.
I agree that offering
I would
the
probably
services.
Suggest them to do that. Yeah. Go work with someone locally and go talk to a player and ask them what they're currently doing and pull one of your models and say, hey, here's something that I learned that I think could work. And go to a player and say, would you be willing to talk to me about this? Or a coach, would you be willing to talk to me about this?
Well, the other benefit of that too, it's such a new field. You need experience, and there's no experience to be gained. You can't get mentorship,
Great point.
Yeah.
And at some point, think of it this way too. And I don't know what orgs aren't working with someone that's a mental health coach or a PT or whatever. But at some point, if I'm telling you that all of them are going to do that someday, well, who's going to be the one that they're going to grab? Just like in any other thing, they're going to go down to the lower level and say, who's been doing this elsewhere? So, in the same way that you might say, well, if I wanted to get in with the, Los Angeles Lakers is their PT, how do I do this? Well, you might want to work at the collegiate level. You might want to work with other people trying to get in the game.
Yep.
So I'd say that would be good. I'd also say, I've really appreciated some out there, and I can't say that all the content I align with, but I'd have to say that there are some that are putting out, and kudos to Dr. Drew and others, that are putting out content that I believe it yourself, especially Jordan.
Appreciate it.
And I hate to say that I haven't done a damn bit of this. I have been busy since the Renegades knocked, and I'm interested in doing more things like this and putting out content, but I don't in putting out the content. And I promise you, don't be afraid of putting it out there, because if you're the real deal, you don't have to worry about someone else doing it better or stealing your shit.
Yeah.
If you're the real deal, they'll come for you. They won't worry about, back in a former life, I started an iPhone app like back in 06, '04. We started this concept, and we'd go to these huge conferences right when the iPhone first came out, and we had seed funding. It was really exciting. And I was up on stage one day, and I said, well, I don't want to tell you everything because I'm really worried about everyone in this room being really bright and somebody stealing my idea. And the next person came up and pitched a company called eBay, and ended up being the foundation group from eBay. And they said, we don't give a shit like this guy before us, Eddie, which is what I went by way back then. We don't care about him. We're going to tell you all about it because we want you to help us with it. And I'm sitting there like, oh, okay. And the concept sounded really cool. And then I've been using eBay ever since.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they were willing to give away the concept, right? Like, hey, and I took that to heart. And so we started actually right after that. My business partner and I, he's a professor at Loyola Marymount in the entrepreneurship department, Dr. Jason DeMello. And kudos to Jason if he ever watches it. But he told me, you know what, Eddie, let's stop caring about it. If someone, and you know what ended up happening? 2 people tried to steal it and recreate it, and we saw it, and it wasn't nearly as good as ours. And they never could do it the way we did. If you're good at what you do and you're passionate, and I've met some that are in the industry, and my LinkedIn's full of them, and my DMs, my Twitter. If you're passionate about it, I believe that you will find your way there. Don't give up. Work hard. Put out the content. Keep studying. But experience can't be replaced.
Sure.
You go get some experience.
That's great advice. And I know we're running up on the hour here, so I just have one last question from the chat, because I think it's a really good one. Are esports organizations doing exit interviews to let players know why they are being let go? You see it in the industry a lot. Players getting dropped, social media, how they find out randomly. As someone who works on mental health, how does it make you feel to see how players are let go, or how they find out? Like,
that's a great question. Yeah. And I've been a part of a couple of these that have gone differently. I was there when we let Medios know that we were taking them off the league roster, and moving them. And I've been here through the Kwan situation, which went public today. These are really difficult situations. These are really difficult things to do. And this is, at the end of the day, and this is me saying it as a bleeding empath, at the end of the day, this is a business, and there are things that have to be done from a business end. That said, that leaves a lot of room for the way that they navigate these. And I have been incredibly impressed with the interest to take care of these young men. And to treat them with empathy. And, to that point, when the boys were let go at 100 Thieves and we let go of our CS roster, Jacob and management said, Edward, we expect you to keep working with them even while they're gone. Just kind of like manage them for a while, help them offboard. Right. And so the offboarding process is what I'm terming it. The offboarding process is incredibly important. And I do believe that they're putting in some really good focus to it. Now, it's not always easy to navigate, even if you try to take care of people, even if you keep paying them, right? I think that's a beautiful thing to just say, hey, we're gonna keep paying you. We're gonna try to find you a new landing spot, which I can't say. I probably shouldn't speak out of scope of practice there. But
Sure.
It seems like they're taking really good care of them. And I think the players have to understand too, and this will, in the long term, you're going to see people become a little bit more wise to this. It won't benefit them long term to burn bridges.
Right.
So, and Dicey's one that he didn't need me to tell him that. These guys, I've been working with Quan now for some time, and I reached out to him yesterday right after the team, or excuse me, not quite yesterday. I shouldn't even say, but the team let him know. The team called him and told him directly. Mm-hmm. like real men. I was proud of them, mm-hmm. Like from the captain's mouth, right? And I think that's kind of the way it has to be taken care of. But it really depends on who you have. If you have people, that are in the right position and they handle their jobs professionally, it should be done in a way that you're able to care for the person. I like to say this statement: both are able to exist. You're able to both take care of somebody and also conduct a business. And,
that's great. Yeah.
The orgs that I'm working with, and I'll say that I'm integral within this because that's part of my practice. I'm here to take care of people. It's not just to win. I mean, I'm here to take care of people. That's the main thing. That's how you win, is by taking care of.
Absolutely. And that's really, that is the way to go, especially for the fields that we're in. Take the esports out of it, right? We're working with people. And that's what I tell players all the time. Like, my goal is to help you achieve your goals, but I'm also here to take care of you as a person and as
and that's what these orgs are doing with guys like me too, as consultants for their teams. They take care of us in a way that allows us to do the work the right way. But that's what you see at the Facebooks and the Googles and the Nikes.
Yeah.
Even at my small little company, we've got 12 staff members that aren't all full-time. They work for me on consulting roles. If you ask them, how does Edward take care of us? I mean, I take care of them like their family. We take care of them like they're people.
Yeah.
So if you take care of people and you treat them the right way, they'll accept what the fate of this business is. But if you treat them like they're some number and you're just trying to use them, well, they're going to burn you down on Twitter, right? I mean, like these things will come back. But Matt's got 100 Thieves tattooed on his arm. He's not interested in not doing this. I mean, he may have other things tattooed on him here pretty soon from the look of it. But he's not interested. Him and management aren't interested in doing this just for money or something. They're a part of this brand. They bleed the brand,
And I will say, like, I've worked with 100 Thieves very, very briefly and very recently. But from the small amount of time I've spent with people in that organization, I think you guys have absolutely outstanding, infrastructure top down. Like, it's great to see that much care being put into this kind of stuff. Talking with Papa Smithy,
a lot of change and growth in the last year. I mean, we've gone through different HR directors. Our COVID protocols have advanced drastically. I mean, they're very concerned with the health and wellness, and we're very concerned with the public persona. We all know that in 100 Thieves,
absolutely,
right? I'm sure Twitter's gone crazy since we had this match, but you have to be concerned about that because heavy is the crown, right?
Yes.
But you still you can have both can exist. You take care of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I think philosophically, long term, right? You take care of your people, it's going to come back. Like, your people are going to work harder, they're going to do better, and the overall culture and environment is improved. It's like, everything, like you said, it's a holistic approach towards an organization and individuals. So, to answer the question, the VOD will be able to be watched later. I'm going to upload all of these interviews to YouTube. Thank you so much, Edward. I know you're a busy guy, and for taking time out of your schedule, even on match day. I really appreciate you hopping on and talking to me.
That was unintentional. That was unintentional. I wouldn't have done that.
We won't tell Papa Smithy about this, but
he'll never find out.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, Jordan. No, I appreciate what you're doing, and what you're giving to the field is invaluable. We need you in the field, and appreciate what you're doing. It's admirable work.
I appreciate it. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care, everybody. Take care of yourself.
Take care. Bye. All right. So let me switch the stream. Hey, thank you all for tuning in for that interview. Appreciate you guys making time for that. Edward is a super interesting guy. I learned a lot. I hope you did as well. I think right now we got a little bit of time. I was actually going to run a game of League, and then I got to do a consult later. So got about an hour of stream left. I am chat restricted. Thank you. All right. Cool. So if you guys have any other questions, definitely you can put them in the chat now. I'm happy to talk and answer. Who did I flame? If you read my chat log, honestly, like, I'm not even just saying this to defend myself. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know how I got chat banned because the most toxic player on our team like reported me. And I guess I had just typed too much. But if you read the chat log, it literally says like, hey, I'm in a mute chat. I don't feel like flaming. I wish you would come gank our lane or something. It was so nominal. Like, yeah, it's so dumb. And he got reported by every single person on our team. And then I got chat banned. I'm like, because I got a report, I got a notice later that it actually told me that whoever I reported actually was banned. So whatever. It is what it is. All right. So let's run one game. I've been trying to play some new champs. Oh no, my buddy's in a game already. Dang. Oh well. I guess we won't duo. So it's one of my friends, Will. I play with him a lot because he plays ADC. Do I have a schedule for upcoming interviews? Yes. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific, I'm doing a live consult with Loco Doco. So really, really famous ex-pro player, coach, streamer in League of Legends. So I'll be doing a live consult where I go through what a physical therapy consult should look like. And I've already worked with them once before, but you guys can get a chance to see what I do in action online, obviously. So it's a little different. But usually I do interviews every Sunday. So next Sunday is going to be Rico Fenice, who is the head coach and trainer, for the NBA 2K team, Boston Celtics. So that'll be super interesting. Game I don't know at all. I mean, it's basketball, but I've never played 2K. I don't know the scene at all. It's interesting that the NBA has gone all out into making 2K like an actual part of the league itself. So that'll be an interesting conversation.
Once again, a woman's left unsatisfied.
So yeah, if you get a chance to tune in for that one, it'll be good. I'm trying to schedule every single Sunday to have some sort of interview. I got some good ones coming up. You can find all the schedule on our website. So Ben, this thing is still not working, but it's respawntherapy.com, and that'll have the full schedule with details.
Feel the thorns embrace.
Yeah, man. And while we were talking, I didn't really watch the game at all, but Cloud9 absolutely stomped. It looked like, I think it was like 10-1. It's good stuff. Edward's gonna have some work to do, talking his team down after that one. Now that he's gone too, I can switch from drinking my water to finishing my boba. You all set good examples, That's acidic. Probably true. All right. Also, I'm going to go through these. Thank you for subbing, Ben, again. 8th. Thanks for the subscription. 2 months now. Thank you for Aoret for the raid. Appreciate all you and all of your followers coming in. Thank you for all the follows. Hoodie Poppy, Lord Cranial, Adraseth, Broom, Doug Sluggins, Jack Black. Thank you guys. Hopefully you guys find this stuff beneficial, and hopefully you tune in for the next ones. If you have any ideas, people you want to bring in, feel free to message me. I'm totally down to find new people. I'm mostly connected in the league scene, so would love to get people in from other games as well, different avenues in esports. Leona. I might actually go cleanse here. Don't really feel like getting hard CC to death. Dicey since it's releasing. Hey, that's actually a good idea. I could definitely. I don't know him, and I'm not a friend with him, but I could definitely add him and see. Coming back Sunday for the interview. Thanks to see the CDL scene. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Someone from OG or their psychologist. I will do my best to look into that. CDL for sure. I definitely want to make some connections in the Call of Duty scene. A coach would be a good idea. I actually do have a couple of coaches who said they might be open to coming on. Again, mostly League. But, oh, you know what? Actually, I have a Valorant coach. So Cloud9 Blue, I'm pretty good friends with Jack. He might be willing to hop on. Or James, I'm sorry. James, IRL. I've talked to him a lot since he was coaching their CSGO team as well. CDL teams would be awesome. I have a couple connections I can maybe reach out to. I think I know some people from Minnesota Rocker as well as obviously can I mod Nightbot? Yeah, I don't know what I need to do for that. I didn't change anything, so I just went on it and I disabled everything. Okay, so do you know specifically what I need to do? Type in here. Oh, okay. Mod Nightbot. Oh, okay. Cool, it works. I don't know why that changed. OG, yeah, I'd love to get some Dota. I don't understand Dota at all. Like that scene to me is so, like, it's so different. Scrims to start warming up for. Appreciate the stream. Yeah, hey, thank you, Sauce. Thanks for jumping in. Good luck in your scrims. Keep adopting those positive mental attitudes and, you know, focus on improvement. Hey, thanks for jumping in the Discord as well. We're trying to get a more active community going in there. If you guys have questions or anything like that, feel free to post in there too. I check it pretty regularly, so. Thank you. All right, so Lucian just showed.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
They're invading.
So much more to see.
All right, I guess. I wish I hadn't started my queue now. I kind of don't want to do this.
Minions have spawned.
I'm always a giveaway too because I'm playing Zyra. They're gonna see this little plant here and be like, "Oh, there she is." Oh well. This is like my 5th game with Zyra ever, so we'll see how it goes. But it was recommended by a master level ADC that I play Zyra. She's like, yeah, it's easy to climb. So I'm learning her. And she's pretty powerful. She's actually, her playstyle kind of matches how I like to play. So it's good. Okay. Oh, I'm so slow. This sucks. At least we're gonna match this second wave, I guess. We're just giving Lucian a free wave. That's cool. That's cool. For absolutely no reason. Let's go a little bit of poke. All right. All right. Take those. Come on, level 2. Nope. Not today, Leona.
Ally has been slain.
Not sure about that. Okay, so I don't know how I took so much damage from Leona. I need to get level 3 so I can actually start throwing some seedlings down. There we go.
Take careful steps.
Oh shoot, I did not mean to do that. Ah, thought I had ignite. I cleansed nothing. Oops. Oh, at least they both backed. Free wave. We caught back up.
An ally has been slain.
That's not good. We get a plate here. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Take careful steps.
Okay, I could probably go mid here. Twitch, just chill, dude. Please. I'm gonna try to gank mid and come bot. Oh, yes, I got his flash. I got his flash. See, that was worth it. That was worth it, man. We got his flash. Yeah, that wasn't gonna hit.
Things aren't always what they seem. Venture off the beaten path.
Take the poke, take the poke. Okay.
The forest holds many surprises.
I was hiding.
Just a hunter's
Oh no. Oh no. Come on, man. Ah, alright. Kill the Lucian. Kill the Lucian. What are you guys doing? There we go. Good job. Although I wish Twitch would have gotten it. All right. I guess we go drag here. I mean, Jarvan getting 3 kills is actually not bad. I think that's okay. I don't know how we didn't kill Vigar either.
Just wait.
Time to go. I was hiding. You're looking a little green.
The harvest is upon us.
Hey, thanks for the sub, Elite J. Appreciate it. First. Oh no. Oh, what is going on up top here? What are you guys doing?
Just a harmless flower. Shut down.
Oh no, what are you guys doing? Oh no. Let's just keep feeding him Malphite. That's cool. All right, this game is going kind of south.
The forest holds many surprises.
It's all right. We're winning bot lane. Yeah, I really don't want to fed Vigar. Yasuo is at his 1-item power spike though. He's got Berserker Greaves, right? Believe in the AP Twitch carry. I don't know if he's going. Is he going AP? Yeah, I guess he is. He's going Nashor's first. I can't gank that.
Took the life from them.
Yeah, I mean, Twitch is actually playing pretty well, I think. So we can definitely win this. I just have to support better.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Shit, right here. That's dangerous.
Death is in bloom.
Not really sure what's going on here. I have ult.
Shut down. Come closer.
Oh no, oh no. Let's go. What? What is that AP damage? AP Twitch. Let's go 3-0. So Leona kind of sucks into Zyra. That's good. That's good to know. I mean, she goes in and I just threw my ult down. She was kind of screwed there. I think what I could have done better was probably activate more plants first, like this. I think we get this plate.
Ally has been slain.
There we go. Man. Stun him, stun him, stun him. Watch out for the Vigar. Watch out for the Vigar. What are you doing, dude? Oh my god. Oh, so close. So close. Oh, that would have failed flash. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Let's go, Twitch. Let's go. I just got to keep the Twitch alive. We win.
I'll be right under the nose. I was hiding.
Oh my god. What are you doing, dude? Why would he walk up to that? This Uter's actually playing idiotic. Ugh. Alright. I don't know, man. What do... I feel like I gotta go Merc Treads. Emotional resiliency, you are right. You're absolutely correct. This is, it's gonna be one of those games. Man, and Yasuo's playing like Yasuo. So I just gotta stay with Twitch. He's our only hope. He's got 6 stacks on his Dark Seal. Clear the wave. Oh, man. I don't know what he was doing walking up. Like, clearly there were 4 people there. We saw them. Man.
Just a harmless flower.
Oh, I wish I had gone for that.
Things aren't always what they seem. Whipvine. Enemy killing spree.
Dude, what?
Venture off the beaten path. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Okay.
The forest holds many surprises.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? How? Why are these guys extending up in lane? Like we're behind now.
Time to go.
Oh shit. Good job, Uter being there though, just
Looking a little green.
to prevent that.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
All right, let's see. What can we do? What can we do to influence this game right now to win? We have a 3-2 Malphite. We have Vigar is freaking strong already. Oh my god. It's unplayable, man. Unplayable, man. What the hell? Oh. Alright. Alright. I don't think I can actually build that. I have to build this because he's doing way too much damage. This feels really bad. I have a really bad buy. Oh my god, okay. Okay, okay. Stun him. There you go. There you go. There you go. Let's go, Twitch. Carry us to the promised land.
I'll be right under the noses.
Your turret has been destroyed.
It's winnable. It's winnable. We just need Twitch to hard carry this game. Gotta keep him alive. Man, Yasuo's 1-6. Oh my god. He's almost to his 10 death power spike, though. We're good. This is where he's the best. It's a really awkward ward. Shit. Okay. 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 Oh my god, what was this damage? What is this damage? His Q did so much. 500 damage? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. And then I stunned him, but I guess that his EQ overrides? What the hell? Like I rooted him, but that doesn't stop him, I guess. Good to know. Good to know. Man, they're really tanky. We're gonna have to build Morellos here. Please, please don't do this, Eater. Holy crap. That's not good. I leveled the wrong ability too. Holy. Okay. I mean, it's still winnable. It's just going to be real close. Oh man, I wish I had just gone Dark Harvest in this game, honestly. Oh, I'm just gonna need a lot more damage. Oh, it still says just chatting? My bad. Let me change that. I didn't update it. That's my fault. League. I can't type. Practice. All right. Hey, thanks for the note, Jack back. I'm actually gonna sell this. Let's buy that. I think it's still winnable. It's gonna be tough. Twitch is pretty fed. I think Jarvan falls off, actually, so I probably just need a second item Morellos here, just so he can't heal. Oh my god, what is this damage? Oh my god, how do I stop that, I guess? Like, I can't root him, I can't do anything. Please, please don't do this! What are you doing? What are you doing, Yasuo? Why? What are you doing walking up to that? It's the third time.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Oh my god. These games are so unplayable, man. Like, how am I supposed to do anything with this team? It's the third time today I've gotten a mid laner just absolutely run it down. Oh, I should have left that for Twitch. I didn't think I would kill all that.
So much more to see.
All right.
Wind of change.
What? Dude, there's a control ward right there. Jeez.
Such a busy world.
Why are Yasuo players so coin flippy? They're either absolute trash or they're just smurfing. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Just a harmless flower.
I can't even fight. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right. Oh my gosh. We have to defend this, I guess. All right, I'll help.
Venture off the beaten path.
All right. It's winnable. It's winnable. No, I have no mana, or I have no health. I'm not doing that. Let's buy a couple control wards. Okay. Okay. We need Twitch there, though, guys. We need Twitch. What are you guys doing? This is too dangerous. There we go.
Things aren't always what they seem. Sprout.
Oh, I just switched it. That's why. It actually should be. Yasuo, go bot, please. Yasuo.
Sneaky.
Death is in the room.
Oh, hello.
Okay. Is our jungler just gonna AFK now? Or is that? Got it. Okay.
Just a harmless
Are they on Baron? Yep, yeah, they're on Baron, of course. Way to push vision, guys. Way to push vision. Oh, man. It's kind of doomed feeling, but...
Venture off the beaten path.
Okay. I need 1,300. Okay.
A little breeze.
Harness emotion.
What lurks beneath the soil?
Holy, what killed me? What? Oh, the Vigar? Okay, that was weird. Huh. I guess... What did he kill me with? Items? Okay, I don't know. I don't know how I died there. Yeah, I don't... The Yasuo should be able to combo off my ult. I don't know why he's not waiting for it. I need 80 gold. Come on, guys. We gotta shove waves. 30 seconds on drag. We have to take this. Please.
Wait until my seeds take root. Such a busy world.
Oh my god, dude. Ugh, this Yasuo is so useless. He's not doing any damage. He's not doing nothing. Like, okay. Oh man, I don't even know. I don't know. Our jungler is 2 and 10. Our top laner is 6 and 9. This is bad. I don't even know.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Just wait.
Harness emotion.
Oh my god, I just get deleted.
Rampage.
I just get deleted. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Oh my god, what? No. No, we should just end this. This is so bad. Bro, like, these guys are... this is such a test. What are you doing? You're just inting. You're straight up just inting. These people are just running it down. How do you play? Like, how do you play this game right now? Like, how do I even play this game? There's 3 people just straight running it down. Why? Why is this game like this, man? Oh my god, I don't even want to say anything. GG Twitch. Thank you for playing League like a human. Oh, dude, this guy's straight inting. Give us feedback? Nah, dude. No, thank you. Garbage game. Oh, man. Okay. Anyway. Well, that was terrible. And I feel like that's how a lot of my games have been this week. Just unreal how these idiots would just run it down. Like, this game was just terrible for me. I played that absolute trash because the Triss was going off. But, like, man. What the hell was that? Like, how was I supposed to win that? This guy just went 2-10. And apparently, it was the good thing I had chat off because he flamed the entire game, apparently. The Yasuo was a moron and just running it down. Even after I tried to help him, he decides to run back in and die. The Renekton, I don't know, was trying to take 1v3s. And he's 7-10. I mean, these games are just so bad. Like, nobody in low elo even tries. Oh, man. Well, anyway, that's enough League for one day. Thank you all for dropping in for the interview with Edward and for watching that travesty of a game. Hopefully this next week goes a little bit better. But we'll be so I'll be doing a live consult with Loco Doco tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific. And then Sunday I'll be doing an interview with the head coach and trainer for the Boston Celtics NBA 2K team. So tune in for those and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah, Jack's back. Yeah, rough matches today. I've heard from a lot of people this week ranked has been really, really bad. Like, just the matchups have been absolute terrible. Like, I went from silver 2 to silver 4. And I feel like half of the games are for sure winnable. It's just, I get people like that where they just get tilted and like, you know what, I'm not even going to try. So, all right. Thanks, Almar. Thanks for dropping in again. Good questions. I hope we answered a lot of your questions for you on the nutritional side. I will see you guys all soon. Thank you for all the subs again, and take care.